Hey, everybody. I wanted to come on here and do a quick Friday live about leadership. And why am I doing that? Because this week, the two episodes on Jamming with Jason both have a leadership theme. So on Tuesday, we dropped Leadership is an Inside Out Game episode. And today on Friday, it's a Flashback Friday on Your Title Doesn't Make You a Leader. So I just wanted to come on here and talk real briefly about that because there's a lot of misconceptions about leadership in general, and so want to start sharing how to actually make you more successful, more confident, and with less stress as a leader. Because I'm guessing that that's probably what you'd like, right? You'd rather not have all the stress and burnout that usually comes with being a leader. And whether or not you actually, manage a team, have people that work underneath you, aren't we really all leaders in a certain way? Because we're leaders, at least in our own personal life, with our families, with our friends. And so a lot of these topics that we're discussing, they're really relevant to everybody. Okay. And so, first off, I wanted to talk about, today's episode, the Flashback Friday, that your title doesn't make you a leader. And so, really a lot of time, just because you have a title of, hey, I'm a vice president, I'm a director, I'm a whatever, and you have people that report to you, that doesn't mean that you're a leader. Now, I understand you might be sitting there saying, just a minute, but I have a title, I have people that work for me, that makes me a leader. No, it makes you a manager of people, but you're not necessarily a leader. So to help explain the difference to you, let's talk about sheep. Okay, sheep. The little furry things that walk around that we get wool from. Okay, and I was taught this a long time ago. There's a big difference between a shepherd and a sheep herder. Okay, so a shepherd and a sheep herder. So what's the difference between the two? Well, a shepherd is someone who leads the sheep. There's usually just one shepherd. The shepherd, loves the sheep. The shepherd walks out in front of the sheep, and the sheep follow the leader. Okay? A sheep herder usually uses dogs and, other stuff. They're behind the sheep, pushing them, cajoling them, making them go in a certain way. So sheep herders are from behind, pushing their people. Shepherds are in the front, leading their people. Okay, so hopefully from that, you can see the difference between a manager and a leader. So again, just because you have a title, yes, you're a sheep herder, you're pushing the sheep, you're making them do the different things that you're trying to get them to do, but you're not necessarily leading the sheep. Okay, does it make sense? So that was the first thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about. Now, the second one comes about that leadership is an inside-out game. And so what that means is, again, a lot of times people feel like or believe, and I understand why, because this is how most people are taught to be leaders, okay? After the Second World War, in especially corporate America, and you see this in a lot of places around the world, there is a certain type of leadership style that I call command and control. Now, why do I call it that? Because it's based very similar on how the military operates. I'm the general, I'm the captain, I'm the person of influence, I have the title, you must obey my orders. I tell you what to do, and you must follow what I am telling you to do. Now, why is leadership, now so much based on command and control? Part of the history lesson, folks, is when these men mainly came back from being soldiers in the Second World War, they understood how the military operated. That was how they were taught. That was how they were trained. And so as a result, when they came back into corporate America, they used that same command and control leadership style. And we've seen that really since the Second World War. And it continues to be this way, right? I'm the boss. You have to do what I tell you to do. And if you don't, then I'm going to use fear and punishment as a way to get you to do what I want you to do. That's where the command and control comes in, right? I'm going to command you, and I am going to put controls in place, and I'm going to control you to make sure that you do what I want you to do. Sounds a lot like a sheep herder, right? You got the dogs, you're yelling at them, you're making them kind of go different ways. Now, while that may be effective, how do you think the sheep feel? Or how do you feel when somebody tries to command and control you? I'm guessing you don't really like it, okay? And in fact, it's a very ineffective way of getting things done, because the minute you stop yelling, or you stop using a stick, or you stop, commanding and using fear and punishment of you better do it or else, people stop listening. A leader who uses a stick to get people to do things, as soon as they quit using the stick, people stop doing what they're being told. Okay. It's human nature. I mean, again, imagine that. If somebody had a stick and they were beating you to get you to go someplace, you're going to listen to them, right? But the minute they go away, you're going to be like, finally, that asshole is gone, right? I no longer have to do that. So again, that's being a manager. That's not really being a leader. Okay. And again, it's more like being a sheep herder. So what do leaders do different? Well, I told you at the beginning, leaders actually love the sheep. They are an example to the sheep. They lead out in front, and people or sheep, little joke there. Anyway, I won't go into that further. They follow the leader because of the power that the leader has. Now, I have a little joke that goes like this. What's the difference between a third world dictator and a traditional leader in corporate America? What's the difference? Nothing, really. They both use fear and punishment as a way to get people to do what they want to do. Now, again, the fact that you're listening to this video, that you've hung on so long, means, hey, I totally understand and I relate with this, Jason. I totally get that. I think it's, a bad way to lead people. I don't like to be led that way either. Well, so then let me ask you the question. Are you leading your people that way? And again, I understand a lot of people have done that. I've done that in my own career as well, because that's what I was taught. Okay. But I'm here today to tell you it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. You can be a different kind of leader that actually has that internal power. So again, when you think about some of the top leaders in the world, people that millions of people loved, that they followed, do those people use those command and control, fear and punishment methods? Probably not. They have an internal power. There is something about their charisma, that's another word that some people use, about internal power that just makes people resonate with them and makes people want to follow them. That comes from the inside out, meaning that we have to be a different person, and then people will actually follow. But it doesn't matter on the doing. It's about being the right kind of person. And when we do that, and we come from that place of internal power, people will follow, and you will actually be a leader. Okay. So let me, again, before I kind of wrap up here today, let me just talk a little bit more about that concept that you might have heard about, but of internal versus external power source. Okay. External power source are people that use things like titles or their position in the company, or maybe they wear a uniform or other things like that. That is what gives them their power. Okay. And so again, I use the example of a dictator. Well, if you look at, most famous dictators in history, most all of them wear a military uniform. Why do you suppose they wear a military uniform? Because that is an external power, right? Because if I'm wearing a military uniform with lots of badges and medals and everything else, then that makes me better than you. And because I have these things externally, then you need to follow me. Okay, you following with me? That's what external power is about. And that's why I say your title doesn't make you a leader. Your title is external power. What really makes you powerful as a leader is your internal power. So where does that internal power come from? Well, a lot of that comes from the confidence that you have, the love, the care, the concern, the authenticity that you have, that people see. They see your example and they want to follow you. Now, what's the difference again between that? As I told you before at the beginning, if you've got that stick and you're beating people, that's external power. The minute the stick goes away, people stop. Internal power, people follow you, people love you. And why do they do that? It's because of who you are. It's not necessarily what you do, but it's who you are. And I know for many of you, this is going to be like, right, for the old brain. And you might be sitting there thinking, well, how do I actually do that? Well, go listen to the podcasts and you're going to find out more, because there is actually ways for you to become and be a leader with that internal power. And I'll tell you, once you figure out how to do that, your life becomes way easier. Okay. So with that, again, I'm going to sign off for today. That was a Friday Live about leadership. And again, check out the Jamming with Jason episodes. There's 2 this week, and there's hundreds of other ones that will help you to become a better leader and learner from the inside out.